Press the fucking Christmas button.
I pressed the Christmas button. It is now Christmas time. Christmas time.
Fantastic.
Oh, welcome back to this week's podcast. Christmas edition? Question
Getting
mark?
there.
Getting there? Almost. This week's podcast will be brought to you by planes, pains, and automobiles, and too many eggs.
This week's podcast is also brought to you by devious researchers and Joe Rogan's swastika.
I am your host, Madison.
I am your other host, Jesse James. Welcome to our conversational leftist mukbang. Getting into the holidays.
Yeah.
Nice.
God.
The energy is high, and the Christmas spirits are inside us.
I'm still recovering from Thanksgiving. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm gonna open this now.
Okay. Then I'll go ahead and open this now.
Ooh, what's that?
It's a strawberry melon spark Mountain Dew Rise Energy.
Wow.
I expect it to be disgusting. I think I've had these before though. So.
Okay. I love what Mountain Dew is doing, and by what they're doing, I mean everything, I guess, is what they're doing.
Yeah, are you ready to get ginger snapped?
I did the other day, and it was quite good, actually. I liked it.
I've only seen a box of them once, and I was in a spot where I couldn't carry it out, and I was very upset.
Tragic. Next time you can procure it, I highly recommend doing it because it's pretty good. I had Alex try it, and he said it tasted like candle.
Okay.
I disagree. I don't think it tastes like it. I think it tastes. Actually, I think what I remember it tasting like was almost like chai.
Okay.
A little bit. It's not super gingery to me. It's just kind of like spices. So.
Okay. I could see that being interesting. And it's clear, right?
I think so. There might be sort of like a tint to it, like a yellowy tint.
Oh,
but
cool.
I think it's clear. Or yeah, I think it is. But
I mean, a yellowy tint is always. You want a yellowy tint. You just don't want it to be like fully brown, because just in general. That's what I hear.
A little yellowy tint is generally acceptable.
Yeah.
Depending on the thing. But I just have Dr. Pepper for now. Not anything as exciting as ginger snapped. But
at least we have some reference to it, because I was really sad about not being able to get it.
Yeah.
What else do you have then?
I also have this.
All right. Yeah.
I also have some French fries.
just some bagglers in the bottom there.
Some straggler fries. And nicotine pouches.
I mean,
because I like to switch it up.
That should just go without saying.
Yeah.
Do you have any large foods, or did you take care of that already? Or never?
I already took care of that. Okay. I had a McChicken earlier to go with the fries.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've had a McChicken, but it has been a while. Though I did go on a 3-person McAdventure last week, in which we went to a McDonald's down the road, and they said, we can't do anything for 10 minutes. So we went to another McDonald's up the road a ways, and there was just a fuck ton of people there, and we got way too much food. We got like $60 worth of McDonald's. and it was
That's a lot of McDonald's.
It was a real nightmare.
Oh my god. That's wow. How many McChickens is that?
Oh, it's probably like fucking 30 McChickens. I don't know what a McChicken does, but there were no McChickens. I did get a McRib, which was as disappointing as it always has been. But sometimes you have to remind yourself.
I think it's good to give it like the annual try, just in case it gets good sometime.
I give it like a every 5 years try, maybe.
Yeah.
I've probably had 3 McRibs in my lifetime. That's fine.
I think I've only had one, actually.
Yeah, you're all good. You get it.
I think I'm good for maybe another year or two, and then I'll probably have to do it again.
Oh, yeah, of course. But the only thing I noticed that was at all different from my memory of a McRib, the NFM, the non-fungible McRib that exists within myself, was that this one had a lot of just wide cut onions on it. And you don't think about how subpar the onions are at a McDonald's when it's just basically like salt crystals that are rehydrated into onions.
Oh, but, yeah, like the weird onion relish they do.
Yeah, they have that like wide paste or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
A thick syrup of onion that they pour on your burger. But the onions on the McRib are like those same onions, but like onion sized and shaped, and just like 2 handfuls of it just thrown on there with like no other garnish. And they barely put barbecue sauce on it anymore. So it's like just this like kind of dry like chunk of fake rib meat with these just piles. Like I had to like dip it into barbecue sauce that had been gotten for Natalie's 40 chicken nuggets. Yeah. Just to get it acceptable to be called what I would think of as a McRib, which is still trash.
Sounds like it was more of a McOnion.
Yeah, it was a very McOnion kind of evening. And I don't think it was a bad McDonald's. I don't think it was a one-off, because the cheeseburgers, I got what I got was a cheeseburger meal with a coffee and a McRib, because I'm nasty. And the 2 cheeseburgers were 100% normal, like completely average cheeseburgers from McDonald's.
Yeah, well, so that's good. That's a good indicator.
Gnarly.
Just a bad McRib, I guess.
Yeah.
Which might be redundant, but whatever.
Yeah. Bad McRib.
This McRib, unlike others, is bad.
Those are the knuckle tattoos I'm going to get.
Bad McRib.
Badum McRib.
Yeah. I could see that. That'd be pretty good.
Speaking of bad McRib, Kurt just held up a box of taquitos from 7-Eleven and said, pick 2 of the 6. So I have those. Yeah. So I guess I'm going to be doing that. And I had previously gotten some peppered salami and a slice of bread, because I was like, well, I'm hungry and don't have anything really planned out. And then an apple.
Oh, good. Very balanced meal.
No, because I was also handed a dulce de leche soft croissant 7-Eleven style.
Ooh.
Which I have to imagine is not good.
Why does it say 7 days on it? Do you have 7 days to live after?
Yeah, this is the ring of soft croissants. It's not unlikely. I also have this premium Junmai sake.
Okay.
That I got when I was up on Broadway the other day. So I'm excited about that.
Incredibly jealous.
I also was handed a Pepsi Mango.
Ooh.
Which I plan to put a little bit of this black velvet into, the finest in plastic bottle whiskey.
Very nice.
So that's my setup.
That's your setup? Yeah. This is my current setup is pretty sparse, but I also have a bunch of PBRs in the fridge that I'll probably be getting into later. Maybe a leftover truly from a game night that happened a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
PBR is always an acceptable thing.
yeah,
Oh, boy.
it's what flavor you got there?
I don't know.
Just taquito flavor? 7-Eleven flavor?
Apparently 4 of them are jalapeno something, 1 chicken, and 1 something else. Steak.
No, there's even amounts of all of them.
Oh, there's even amounts of all of them.
Oh,
So I got something. I don't know what. It's not particularly spicy, but I don't know that that matters. It could be jalapeno or not,
yeah.
or it could be anything else.
Well, that's the dice you roll, I guess, with the.
This is what happens when you don't eat until it's dark out. Is you're
Yeah.
at the mercy of raccoon food.
A weird opposite of that, where I like most of the evening don't eat. I'm like not super hungry, and then I wake up in the morning and I'm starving, but I'm starving for specific things, so I only crave like the most inappropriate breakfast foods.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, like this morning I made pasta at like 10 a.m. It was really good. The other day I got a meatball sub from Subway at like 9 a.m.
A 9 a.m. meatball sub from Subway.
It
I was
just
going to say,
I
that's not
woke
that
up.
weird until that one. That one's commitment.
It was like one of those times, this has been happening to me a lot lately, where I like have a dream about a certain food. And then I wake up and I'm like, I need to procure this or else I'll just be off the whole day. So I had dreams about meatball sub and I had to do it.
I mean, that works out. You can have the schedule of like a beleaguered office worker when you're eating and still live a normal life.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Is it getting better?
No, taquito number 2 is definitely different.
Mm.
That's not the first taquito's flavor.
It's second taquito flavor.
But based on the interior, it kind of looks like they had a piece of string cheese and they put it on a burner till like it melted down to a thinner chunk. Just tap that into the tube, and then like just kind of like poured what was left over in a pan they had been cooking stuff in into the middle.
Mm.
You kind of see like brown on that side, something on the other side.
I see a little of the cheese, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm.
It's impossible to know.
I had the other day at my uncle's wedding
While you were in Tejas.
While I was in Tejas, I think they were called tequeños, which I was told by him that it is essentially a Venezuelan mozzarella stick, but he was like, "Do not say that to any of the people here, or they will be very angry at you." But it was a Venezuelan mozzarella stick. It was very good, but
are you not allowed to talk about Venezuela in Texas?
I guess you're not allowed to insinuate that taqueños are mozzarella sticks in any way, shape, or form, even though that is exactly what they are. Yeah, it's just breaded cheese, but the breading is like it's instead of like a, I don't know, usually it's here like a corn meal sort of breading or something like that. There's more of a like a dough
Okay.
than that, but still good. Definitely a mozzarella stick, though.
That's it's weird what people get upset about, but that's fine. How was that experience overall?
It was good. It was very hectic. Not very planned. There wasn't really a set schedule for anything other than like the actual wedding. I got very drunk that night and was like hungover for the next day pretty bad. And then the day after that, just not even hungover, just like not good.
You were recovering.
I feel like I'm still recovering. Like my body is still kind of like, well, why? Why did you do that to me? But I was pretty sad because it was like I don't know why I got so hungover because I don't feel like I drank like too much more than I normally would on a night when I'm like doing stuff. But the next day was like the food day, and so everyone was like going and eating at restaurants and stuff, and I like couldn't eat anything.
Oh.
I was just
that's a bummer.
No, yeah, it was pretty sad. They went to some like barbecue place that looked and smelled really good, but it wasn't gonna happen for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
Well, that's kind of a sad story, but that's all right.
I had fun. I had fun that night though.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the chosen images that I saw were very low energy, let's say. So now I have some context for why that might be.
Yeah, I didn't take very many pictures the trip because I mean I think I've just generally been really exhausted for like the past 3 weeks. But like since Thanksgiving, I drove to my mom's and then spent a few days there, and that was good. I spent time with like my mom and my brother, and then my grandparents moved in with them recently, so
you got
it was fun.
Good family time, some good huddle around the TV, do some holidays. Yeah, the good stuff.
Yeah,
Feeling the spirit.
Yep, the spirit was definitely felt.
Yeah.
So that was good, but also just kind of mentally exhausting. And then I got back, was here for a few days, and then went to Dallas.
And
so
you
yeah.
felt more of the spirit.
And then I really felt the spirit. Yeah. So I don't know. My brain's been out of my head for about 2 weeks now, I think.
That's not always the worst, but it definitely isn't something you want to have stick around for too long. Good news, it's December, so all that'll get washed away with the Christmas excitement.
Why does it feel like this year the Thanksgiving and Christmas are like 2 days after each other?
I mean, fucking Hanukkah was like the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Has it always been this way? And I'm just now noticing.
It hasn't always been 2021 is the problem.
Yeah, I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not prepared for Christmas things, but I'm prepared for another Christmas Prince if they want to do that to us. That would be cool.
Well, you got Switch, so that's what we're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I will take any of that variety.
I think that might be out. I haven't watched it yet, but obviously I plan to watch it. But I did, when I saw that it was December 1st and that feeling rolled in, and I was walking around seeing people's lights up, which just seems so inappropriate, even though it's the 7th.
Yeah.
Um, I jumped myself in and have been putting on Christmas movies constantly, including like half the ones I've watched have been rewatches. Like obviously I watched The Night Before Christmas, KNIGHT, because like that's just tradition now for me.
You gotta.
I actually watched it twice because I had to show it to somebody else, and we may have talked about this already, but the fact that it's very clearly the guy who plays the knight singing the song towards the end of the movie when the knight leaves is just really rough.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And it's like you've gotten used to him talking like a cartoon knight for the whole movie, and then it's supposed to be like an emotional-ish section of the movie, and then hearing him in his normal voice singing, just like it takes any amount of like connection with the movie and just turns it into a weird oddity, which is fine. Like that movie is like that anyway. It's like the lady who clearly was meant to just be like a villain that they didn't use, the next door neighbor who's like, ooh, you can help me out anytime. And then the only other time you see her is when she shows up at the Christmas party and is like, hey, I got mistletoe. And he's like, oh, and she's like, maybe you should give it to her. Like, they just have her, like, become a villain and turn around on it in, like, the scene of, like, 3 lines, and her villainous activity is that she's interested in the knight. It's very...
What a bitch.
There's a lot of very slut-shamey stuff, which we have discussed in past episodes, but it is weird in Christmas movies.
Yeah.
I also rewatched Christmas Inheritance. It's still bad.
God.
Maybe even worse than I remembered it.
Probably. It's been enough time that I think I need to rewatch everything, which it's Christmas, so I'm gonna. But
well, number 1 on your list, other than The Night Before Christmas, is A Night Before Christmas. Number 1 on your list should be Christmas Wish, because I rewatched that yesterday, and the person I was watching it with almost had a breakdown because it was so bad. It's the one that has the like I love this Christmas, I love this Christmas, like that really, really terrible song, but they play it in different contexts like 8 times throughout that movie.
And
it's
must have blocked that out.
Maybe you'll remember this scene in which it's the main character and her like slightly elderly like neighbor in the apartment building they live in, and they're talking about like boys or something in like the 3rd scene, and the radio's on, and then it starts playing that song, and the old lady gets up and is like, this is my jam, and then they sing like a paragraph of it, and then they're like, oh, that was fun. And it's the one where she makes a wish on a star that her neighbor would fall in love with her, but instead her other neighbor falls in love with her. And then the other neighbor like leaves his fiance and all that stuff, and it's a terrible movie. It's worse than it sounds. If that sounds like, oh, that might be a fun movie, it is actually worse than that. But
no, I mean that sounds pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited to make sure.
You got to do a lot of making sure around Christmas.
Gotta just check twice, you might say.
I hate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I do have some new movies to discuss, but I'll wait on those because I have, I guess, other stuff in there too. I guess I'll just say Christmas movies aren't getting any better. So.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't think that this would be the year for them to do that. So. That's
So
all right.
did you have any exciting Thanksgiving news? Like, did you do anything beyond what you described, or
not really. No, I didn't really go anywhere or do anything. We just kind of hung out, made some food. I had some work to do, so I did a little bit of work over the break. It was pretty normal Thanksgiving.
I mean, that's kind of all you can hope for with Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it just felt super long because I drove. Well, how many days did I stay there for? I drove and then stayed for I think like a day or two, and then I drove again, and it's just a really fucking long drive.
Yeah.
But
that is correct.
Yeah. And I haven't done that drive very many times by myself. And I've realized that that's probably like not super the best time to be listening to a bunch of like true crime podcasts because they're
I don't know
all
about
that. Well, I obviously enjoy them, but every single podcast I listen to, it wasn't even a podcast. Some of it was like I was listening to the JCS criminal psychology videos on YouTube also. A bunch of them were like, oh yeah, and here's the story about this young woman who randomly got murdered at a fucking reason, and I was like scared to get out of my car the whole time.
Cool.
Yeah. but, but other than that, it was fun.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a great option for road tripping. What is that drive, like 5 hours?
Like 6.5.
6.5, okay.
Actually, yeah, like 6.5 or 7. I think it took me an extra long time because every time I stopped to get gas or something, I would like, I don't know, for some reason I was being really spacey and it took me a long time to like get back on the road and figure out how to continue driving.
I mean,
made it.
Yeah, that seems fine.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, the day was nothing. Though we did have a small celebration of musubi that Kurt made here.
Ah, yeah, I saw some pictures. That looked very good.
Didn't have seaweed to wrap it in, but had seaweed to put in the rice, so it worked out for flavor. It was good though. And then that weekend, we did like a Thanksgiving with like friends kind of thing. So we just went to our friend Morgan's place and had scotch and like a mostly vegetarian spread of stuff.
Oh, that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, there was some good like mushroom gravy. There was still like Morgan's Esso, Jason made like extremely exterior heavy buttered chicken or turkey. So it's just turkey, but like the outside of it was just a turkey chip, and that was very good.
That sounds good.
Yeah. And then Natalie brought like a really elaborate mashed potato. I think it was just and there was vegetarian loaf and like stuffing and mushroom stuffing, I think it was, and some other stuff. It was good. It was just the right amount of like hot food to be celebratory, but also nobody had to care about Thanksgiving, the holiday, which is how I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our Thanksgiving was pretty non-Thanksgiving-y feeling, surprisingly. But
yeah,
I was very down for that.
yeah, that's fine with me. I did feel a little bit like Thanksgiving because I spent part of the day, the actual day, watching a bunch of like history videos about like relations with the Native peoples of America. So that felt Thanksgiving-y.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I
actually.
wouldn't call it fun or holiday-ish.
Yeah, not fun, but I would say more authentic.
Yeah, I got the authentic experience of being pretty sad and pretty annoyed that people defend the holiday as like it's a time to come together and like love each other.
And eat turkey.
On that note, I'm gonna crack into the sake.
On that note, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, crack into
'Cause
that.
I found it.
Which one?
This is the Alaska one
Ooh,
that I
nice.
thought I had lost, but found it. Yay.
I mean, that is proven to be a good one. So.
Yes, it is. So.
Oh. This is also proving to be a good one.
Careful. I like the branding. I don't think I've ever seen that brand before.
Oh, this one? Yeah. The
Oh, fuck.
the vape from Alaska is like the most full vape I have ever seen. Like, I know that we don't get through it very quick, but like that thing, if it was just me using it from from the start, that would probably last me for like months.
Yeah. Fuck. Wow. Yeah. Even just looking at it still, there's so much left in it, and I feel like I've used it a decent amount, so I'm pretty impressed with it. I can't remember if this is one of the ones. Is this the disposable one, or is this one that you can like switch out the cartridge?
I think it's supposed to be disposable.
Yeah. Fuck. Ow. I'm used to the like watermelon flavored one.
Yeah.
So every time I ever have any sort of weed that's like weed flavored, I'm like, oh fuck, oh god, no. I didn't want to do drugs.
Yeah. Whoops.
Oops. I just wanted watermelon flavor that tastes nice and makes me feel nice.
I was looking for my mellow watermelon, and now I've got this chest stinging. What was it? Here, kitty, kitty, or whatever the fuck.
Oh god, yeah, that is what it was called. Oh.
Yeah. I'm not, the branding is not good, but the thing itself is good.
It's effective.
Yeah. If you want to look at mushrooms for a little while, that'll do it.
This is the correct mushroom observing one. Yeah.
Non-colonial adventures can be sparked with that.
Mm. Yeah. It was very effective.
So what? I guess actually that's a tiny topic. What are your current thoughts on a Joe Rogan?
Oh God. Well, do you want to? Fuck. I don't. I have complicated feelings about Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's fine.
My feelings towards him are similar to my feelings about Alex Jones,
Yeah.
where I find them to be very funny people,
Yes.
very entertaining, and also I wish they would stop a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Joe Rogan most of the time is just a big idiot. And
Yeah, he has
fine.
been.
Yeah.
Not that he's not an idiot now, but like his persona was much more idiot based.
Yeah, just big idiot who wants to get high and like have stupid conversations with
Right.
notable people, I guess, which is fine and funny sometimes. It's becoming less innocuous.
Yeah.
So do you do you want to head that off by talking about his cool tweet? Or was it an Instagram post?
It was an Instagram post. So what I think this was right around Thanksgiving. I think that this went up.
Yeah.
Like I have a picture of it saved because I think it was taken down pretty quick. But the what he wrote under it.
Oh yeah, I was
off
gonna
with,
say, did you get the whole caption?
I didn't get the whole caption.
Ah, damn.
What he writes under it is, "We are in Kali Yuga, the age of conflict." So that's a nice tone setter to the rest of it.
Mhm.
But what he made was this chart of how society works,
Right.
which is, according to this chart, as he writes it, hard times being hard times in like society lead through authoritarianism to strong men, lead through right wing from authoritarianism to good times. And then through libertarianism, the good times lead to weak men, which seems to be like, I don't know what he's trying to say there. Like, I would agree, but I don't think Joe Rogan, the person, would agree that libertarians are weak because he seems very pro libertarian ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Then weak men lead through the left wing to hard times, and then it starts to cycle over. The thing I think is most troubling, I think the libertarian one is the most confusing for him. But the idea that authoritarianism leads to strong men, and then those strong men use like conservatism or right-wing thought to lead to good times, that's the part that's the most troubling. Is half of this is saying that what would generally be considered leading to fascism through any metric that most people would have, in Joe Rogan's, I assume, high brain when he was putting this up, he is saying that the part where the fascism would be is actually the part where like everybody is happy finally, and the part where like left wing people push for like more equality leads to hard times. So that seems a little rough.
Yeah, he so I've heard that like saying before. I've heard that like as a not a talking point, but just something that people say, the like hard times lead to strong men, lead to good times, lead to weak men, like that thing. Like his post leads me to believe that he's like heard that before, because I've just heard people say that, and then saw it like superimposed on to the political compass chart, and like just hopefully doesn't understand the political compass chart or like how that works.
So. Yeah.
I would hope. I think he hasn't enough of an understanding of it to like probably like just in his brain like intuitively that made sense.
I think the problem for me is trying to figure out the difference between like what is it that he just did and what is it that he understood? Because I know it's in the middle. Like, he doesn't have no idea. But I don't think he's also... Joe Rogan is an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
whether he is the kind of idiot he says he is or not, the idea of him doing this and being like, this'll get him or whatever, like, I don't think that is the intention, but I think that he, at worst, he is probably revealing that he does sort of have a backwards idea of how, like, people just generally operate.
Right.
Which wouldn't be surprising considering, like, what, he's a TV and UFC guy, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not a smart man.
I mean, this is I don't know if he made this the image that he shared or if he just like found it, but it really does look like one of those kind of things where if you have any sort of like that bent, that you'll like see that and intuitively be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like if you think about it for 5 minutes, the whole thing just falls apart and it doesn't make much sense at all, which seems like a very Joe Rogan thing to do.
Yeah.
To just not really I don't know, inspect the actual meaning behind things like that.
Well, I think so this popped up and somebody brought it to my attention. They were like, "Did you see his political compass thing?" And I was like, "What?" They were like, "His swastika." And I was like, "No, but I will, I guess." But the thing that came a few days later was, or really during Thanksgiving week is when it's like became very notable, is Joe Rogan started doing more and more like with his I guess with his vaccine stuff especially, he's been doing more like self-driven content.
Yeah.
And he started like putting his opinion over other people's opinion more, and like notably stating like his opinion as the correct one, as opposed to doing what he usually does,
Right.
and being like, you know, I'm just here to like have this conversation.
Yeah, that's always his kind of cop out for everything, is like, no, I'm just like asking questions and like starting the conversation.
Questions.
I'm just an idiot asking questions, so it's totally fine. If I bring on Jordan Peterson and
where like this is one of the most Jordan Peterson looking things that he's put up.
Yeah, it really is.
But yeah, that veneer is sort of rough when you're not following it in your like show as like your rule anymore. Like, I don't know how often, but like I keep seeing more and more stuff where he's being like, these people are wrong, like these people don't know what I know. And that is slipping further and further into like Alex Jones territory. So I mean, he has a lot of influence. I would really prefer if he didn't go full Alex Jones and stayed like just a little Alex Jones, but I guess that's yet to be seen.
Yeah. Like all of his vaccine stuff has kind of been leading in that direction of, you know, instead of I'm just starting the conversation, I know things and you don't, and real truth. Like, yeah, if he keeps doing that kind of stuff, it's gonna be kind of rough to watch.
Yeah, like he's I think it was Thanksgiving, he did a round table with like a bunch of people of just
yeah,
here's like the shit that's going on. It was like Alex Jones and like Tim Pool, and like it was basically just a bunch of very
wasn't fucking like Blair White there too?
I think so. It was just a bunch of fucking goblins sitting in a room talking about how like people got to get their America better, which, you know, that's not a conversation I want to have to be stuck in, but it is sometimes nice to see how they all interact with each other, which is a mess.
Yeah, it's a fun like train wreck to watch for sure, but
Also, like, Joe Rogan still
Ugh.
comes out looking the best, but, like, not by as much as he used to.
Yeah. It's the concerning slide into gremlin territory,
I
becoming one of them.
Yeah, I really don't want goblins and gremlins to become negative. I feel like that's we're just getting it back.
Yeah, we're just reclaiming the gremlin aesthetic.
Yeah, we
You
gotta
can't co-opt this from us.
we gotta get all of the gremlins a living wage and equal opportunities through wealth redistribution and stuff. We can't be taking all these gremlins aside and putting them into categories all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan's making that hard.
Yeah, we need gremlin solidarity.
Yeah, that's right.
God.
There were like 3 awful segues in my head for 3 different things that I meant to talk about. It was gremlins, being hard, and solidarity. I can't use any of them.
What were you segueing to?
I mean, there was more Christmas stuff. I looked at a troubling website. There's some of these. There's also Alex Jones's thing, but yeah, you should take a turn on the topic because there's nowhere good for this to go.
We could derail the depressive Joe Rogan talk with my the woes of my trip to Dallas.
Oh yeah.
So
Texas related.
Also Texas related. So my trip to Dallas and wait, I guess the trip back. Yeah, and the trip back. The travel there was very weird. It was a very weird day. So I got an Uber to the airport.
Okay.
And my Uber pulls up and his car is absolutely decked in Back the Blue stickers.
Oh, good.
Like on all sides of the vehicle there is a bumper sticker, and then I get in the car and there's a bumper sticker on the dash. So like the message is very, very clear what's going on. And then the dude was just super, super nice. So it was, I don't, there's not really anything to be specifically gleaned from that experience. It was just another, like, oh God, I have to sit here and play nice in this car.
That's excessive. I always try to give car service workers a little leeway because that could be a tactic for not getting pulled over. But like,
oh, that's true. I actually didn't think about that. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the one thing I really did appreciate about like I said, he was a super nice guy. We actually had a great conversation about like living in Idaho, and he was from Hawaii or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked, and he actually did not bring up anything political, like remotely.
Okay.
So like was cool with that. That Uber story becomes more relevant with my next Uber story. So when I landed in Dallas, I took an Uber to a restaurant and I got in the car, and also a very nice guy, just almost immediately when I got into the car started railing on Black Lives Matter.
Oh.
And it was a black dude, and he, like, no kidding. It was also a very long Uber ride. It was like 20 something minutes. And I don't even remember how he segued into this. Because I remember like getting into the car, being there for a few minutes, and then being like, how did we arrive at this topic? I have not even been here that long. Fuck. How did he even bring it up? Oh, because I mentioned at some point living in Seattle, and then of course he was like, "Oh, Seattle's falling apart. Like people are leaving Seattle in an exodus because of Black Lives Matter," and I was just like, "Oh, are they really? Cool."
It couldn't be the rich people buying up all the property. That wouldn't be it.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with it. Obviously, it's just everyone getting forced out by the all the Antifers up there.
At least they're transitioning into exodus instead of continuing to just say that Seattle burned to the ground over and over, which is what I've been hearing for the last year.
I have heard that more like in the last couple of weeks because I've been like at family events. And everyone's talking about how Seattle no longer exists and is in rubble and shambles.
Especially in terms of what Seattle the city is, it's more what it has been for a while than it ever has been. It's a lot of like conservative leaders and people saying that everything is too liberal. So
right. Yeah. Well, and weren't you telling me in like a previous semi-recent previous podcast that the police department there had just secured like a bunch more funding?
Yeah, they
like more than they had before.
So the during the protests, the all of the stuff that people actually point to when they say that Seattle is having trouble is that when the mayor kept gassing everybody because if you weren't privy to the actual protests, the police would start all of the violence, and then they would gas everybody to make them like move to where they wanted them to move to. Because the point of the police going to these things anyway is to make everybody leave and like scare anybody else from coming out and protesting anything, because it detracts money from the city, and it makes you look more effective and like in control if you can keep people subdued. And people kept coming out, so they kept gassing everybody. And then the mayor said, well, we won't gas anybody, and then allowed them to keep gassing everybody. So they had like it's like a couple hundred people or so went to the one of the civic buildings, like the whatever the Capitol building is or whatever in Seattle, and went inside and were like, hey, you can't keep gassing us. And then they like stopped gassing people for like a couple of days. Like that's essentially all that happened. And over the course of that, you can go back and listen to all of the other shit they were doing, because most of it they're still doing. There's like I'm staying out in the U District. There's a street that's like it's a two-way, but it's 2 one-lanes with a big like 20-foot or so park median all the way through it.
Mm-hmm.
All of those are parks, and people were camping in them, and like they still have sweeps of all these parks and the larger parks near it, where they just kick people out and take all their shit and get rid of it. Which, like, those people don't have a home, they don't have anywhere to go, so it's just going to homeless people and taking all their shit, which, you know, isn't gonna keep anyone from being homeless. Like, it is to get them to leave. Right. And there's stuff like that has been going on and is just as bad as it always has been, and only getting worse all over the city. And the response to that was initially saying they would decrease Seattle police funding by like 1/3, which at the time was like $350,000, because they got, or it was more than that, I think, because they got like several million. And then they took that back, like just quietly said, we're not going to do that. So that never happened. and they still acted like it happened. So everybody still was complaining about it, but like they still got all their funding. I think the only thing that really happened was their hiring was pulled back a little bit for one hiring season. So like they hired fewer people for like that following fall or something. And then we had this election that just went through, and the person that they elected, of two people who were not very good, the person who got the position is like just a Republican, essentially. They're all called Democrats. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't really matter anyway, but like that's sort of the point. Is enough people believe that there's a firm separation between the two, that like
Right. Yeah.
this person saying like, hey, we should strengthen the police, and their idea was, I think they wanted to give them like a few tens of $1,000s more funding and get like a percentage more cops hired than we already had. Like their whole goal was to up the amount of cops we had in all areas of the city and get them paid better. So like if people talk about Seattle's like police and all the defunding stuff and all that shit, the actual process and conclusion is there were protests, they paid the police more, had them hire more police, and installed a governor through a lot of fucking conservative money that will put even more police out. And that's the extent. Nothing has burned down, and there's no like difference in the city other than there's more centralized power for the fucking executive part of the city, and that's it. Like there hasn't been a shift. The area that was the Cal Anderson area, that was what people were trying to claim was like all of downtown being like the communist takeover. It was literally that park that is like 4 city blocks square. It's like a tiny Central Parky kind of thing. It was that park, and then like the block that ran along the main strip of Pike for 2 blocks, which is the extent of the park. That was the whole chop. Like that was it. And like I think parts of the mural are still there, but that's literally a dog park. Like I took a picture of it the other night. There's nobody there. It's a park. Like there is no leftover anything. The only thing that's still there is a bunch of the vegetable garden they planted is technically still a vegetable garden, but that's it. Like planting a garden doesn't really change the political atmosphere of a city, last I checked.
Or burn it to the ground, which is what everyone's claiming that Seattle's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's how we got from point A to point B on that during that Uber ride. So that was just interesting back-to-back interactions.
I mean, you can consider me the third Uber driver yelling at you for that set of stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. But so that was the Uber portion of the trip weirdness.
Yeah.
My plane was cursed, like absolutely 100%.
Your plane is always cursed.
Okay, yes, because I think I mentioned this before in the past, but every time I get on a plane, there's some sort of like weather alert or some like emergency that's happening, and then my flight either gets delayed or there's a tornado nearby and they decide to go anyway, basically, which is what happened one time.
Yeah.
But with this plane, it wasn't a natural disaster of any kind. We were sitting waiting for my plane to for everyone to get off, and they came on the intercom and were like, there's going to be a delay. We had a medical emergency while someone was getting off the plane, and so it's going to take longer. So they like wheelchaired someone out. I don't know what happened, some sort of bad thing, because there was like ambulance people and everything. And then later, during the flight, someone gets on the intercom again and is like, we're having a medical emergency. Are there any doctors on this plane?
Oh shit.
And someone in the back was like having like heart problems, I think, or something. So that plane was problematic. That's luckily the only things that happened, but I've never been on a plane and had anything like that happen. So 2 times in like 2 hours was kind of weird.
Yeah. You should, I mean, like, you're gonna keep being around planes, but you gotta get some kind of, like, smudge stick or something to use before you board, because it's getting a little ridiculous for that shit.
Yeah, it's getting to be. It's funny that because there's always there's always something. It's either like a full out emergency happening, or like in my second plane on my way back, it's something just very stupid and innocuous, but is incredibly frustrating. On my flight back, someone's toddler had an iPad that they were using without headphones.
Cool.
And they played Baby Shark for an hour and a half.
Oh. That's a rough one. That's worse than the tornado, I think.
I think it's worse than the heart attack too.
Yeah.
that one, I couldn't believe everyone just kind of let that happen. I couldn't believe.
It's not terrorism, but people on planes with small children are in the spectrum between customer and terrorist.
I would call it some light terrorism. I felt very terrorized. That day, that was my 9/11.
That was the 9/11 of plane rides.
That was the 9/11 of plane rides. Exactly.
Well, the good news is Baby Shark can't melt through headphones usually.
Yeah.
So.
Usually.
Did I already the plane that I took back here from there last? Did I talk on the podcast about the phenomenon that happened around me?
I don't think so.
Maybe a rehash, but on my flight back out here, I had a person next to me. I was in a middle seat. At a person in front of me looking in the crack of the door, and then another person who was like, I can't remember if it was the person on my right or the person in front of them. All of them were on their phones doing the weirdest shit. But ultimately, the main thing that they were doing, well, the guy next to me on my left was obviously on his way back from Alaska. Okay, this is the Alaska trip. That's why I don't remember if I talked about it, because it wasn't on my way back from there. The Alaska trip was the guy who was going through all his pictures of him with fish and like deciding what he wanted for his dating profile.
Oh, okay.
But the person next to me on the flight back from Idaho last, they were looking through their security cams at their house.
Mm.
And so was the person in front of them, and so was a person to my right. And they were all just like staring through their security cams. Like, I don't get what you're accomplishing when you're on a plane. And like, I guess you're using the plane Wi-Fi to get a really bad like signal for something that probably has enough lag to where even if there was something you could do, you couldn't do it. Like, you just want to see if there's somebody around your house, because they weren't looking at pets. That was the first thing I thought, and I was hoping like, oh yeah, maybe they're just nervous pet owners, but like that wasn't what was happening on those things. So I don't know.
Sometimes you just really got to know what's happening in your living room when no one's there.
I gotta see my living room.
I gotta see it. I gotta see my bedroom right now. Maybe they were all thinking that their houses were haunted and
Maybe.
looking for proof.
Maybe they were all in cahoots and they were playing some sort of what's in my home playing game that I don't know about.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's the newest addition to the Jackbox Party Pack.
Yeah.
Look at somebody's surveillance footage.
I'd play it. If it was in a Jackbox, I'd play that.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be fun. Did you see the thing about them banning the word cum?
From what?
Which pack was it? I gotta find this. Hold on.
That's a bad move.
It was it's a really bad move.
Yeah.
You just automatically eliminated like 90% of my reflexive answers for things. Checkbox bans cum.
It's upsetting to hear.
Bad news, everyone. Jackbox is banned cum. So it's an update to a hard mode, I guess, that the game has.
Okay.
It still doesn't say. Oh, it's on Quiplash.
Come on.
I know. Yeah, it also bans dick, piss, shit, wank, and nutsack. What a bunch of prudes.
Yeah, what is this, Jackbox? You're called Jackbox.
Yeah.
Well, that's frustrating. But they can't stop me from making T-shirts in T-Fury that have cum all over them. So that's...
I'll never stop.
Nice try, Masterson, piece of shit. Let me go ahead and send you something important. Here, I'll send you 3 things. Guess which 2 things of the 3 I'm going to talk about as nightmares.
I have to pick 2 of them?
Yeah. Could be tough.
Oh, yeah, I feel like I have an idea of which ones are the nightmares. What the hell am I looking at? What is this? Is this like a stationary go-kart? What is happening?
So you were talking about Uber, and I want to talk about what is probably in Uber's future, unfortunately.
Oh no, I know exactly what this is.
Yeah, I bet
this is fucking bleak. Oh, Jesus. Okay, go ahead.
I'll go ahead and send a couple more of these then.
I mean, of course this is happening.
Yeah. Wait, what is this one? Oh, that one's maybe funny. Hard to say. What is funny exactly?
Like, oh my god. You know what's gonna happen is they're gonna release a Mario Kart version. Where everything is just like, oh my god.
I mean, they're basically saying that anyway. So I'll just go ahead and reference this one first. So this is, if you want to go check out all of this action, you can go to hologractor.com and check out the new Hologractor, which is what they fucking call this thing.
Who is in charge of that? My god, it's so bad.
Yeah. So here, also maybe a bit too revealing. these shots off my phone are from 4 a.m. So I guess I was just hologractoring at 4 a.m., which is fine because I remember
Literally,
ranting
exactly.
at Kurt about it at like 5 a.m. So that's whatever.
Credit, it was 6.
Here's an image of what we're talking about with the hologractor. But it is in fact a car. And it is a car that is controlled through remote control, which is the guy sitting in a like weird overly produced Cruisin' USA machine. The person in the car pod thing, separate from the car, has AR goggles on that are supposed to be them looking through the car. So they're driving the car.
Yeah.
The hologractor itself, is a 3-seater. It has 2 seats in the front and 1 in the middle behind them. So that's also an odd choice.
Yeah.
But the hologractor on its face is... I think my camera just blinked out for a second. It should be fine.
Yeah, it's back.
So I bumped the port for it. Anyway, the government. It was the government. The hologractor, their point apparently is like, well, wouldn't it be great if your car had an AR display so that you can the worst idea I can think of, what if you could just have a bunch of little games / overlays for your car, which the best case scenario is okay, so you can maybe superimpose traffic lines and stuff for areas where it's less obvious. But areas where it's less obvious is also probably going to mean areas where your internet connection doesn't support getting that kind of display.
Right.
The other big thing is somebody else could drive your car with that pod thing, making the point that the company itself is positioning itself as a really good opportunity for ex-military people who did drone flying to just slot right into that and do some car driving, some piloting for civilians and stuff like that. Which, in a way, the only thing I can think of that's worse than being a rich person's car chauffeur or an Uber driver is being one that still has to go to an office and sit in what is essentially a cubicle to do it.
Yeah.
And then just have splitting 3D goggle headaches whenever you're not at work. Or when you are at work, who knows? Also, the idea of that not having lag is low. I don't... the possibilities of that not working correctly are so high that I don't think it would ever be, at least reasonably permitted. And then, beyond that, the only places that are going to be able to afford to do stuff like that and to provide the new thing are big companies that have a ton of money or a ton of investors for a ton of money, like Uber and Amazon and stuff. So it's even more solidifying the idea of taking the car to go job and turning it into a corporate thing.
Yeah.
A corporate thing that probably is about as safe as just having AI drivers already.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you're factoring in all the technology and internet connection stuff,
well, it's if you're gonna have a data farm set up of this. Well, actually, no. If you're gonna have a streamer house, but you're all Uber drivers.
Oh my God.
You could have bunk car pods, and if you're gonna have a setup like that, you're really just providing a way to have less necessary reason to support those people, because they're coming into an office. They're not like going out there and doing something for you. It's not going to affect any of the things that matter except negatively, but it is going to create a space where you kind of have complete control over everything, even though generally they would be out doing that and at least separate from you a little bit.
Right.
There's just a lot of bad shit with that.
Yeah, it's like super not hard to imagine a future just like sweatshop essentially of just rows and rows of virtual drivers.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's super depressing. And then the perk can be that like out back when you're done with your VR pod, you can go die in the suicide pod.
Yeah.
And it's super quick and painless.
I mean, they could just have a suicide pod that is a non-working hologractor. So you could go get your comfortable car seat and just pull a cover over it. And maybe it just has like a gun in the glove box or something. Like, I don't know. But you would simulate the whole experience of being an Uber driver without ever leaving a building.
It's actually just one of the machines, just variably, is the suicide machine each day. And you just have to really hope you don't step into that one.
Yeah, it's like, I look for a notch on the steering wheel. I don't know. Like, not sure, but there's a rumor that you can tell. You don't want to get that one.
Oh my god.
Everything about it seems terrible. The only thing I could think of that would be a benefit to being an Uber driver is that you wouldn't be at an office, and changing it so that you absolutely would be is the worst. Yeah, so there's that. Also, like, think about the people who are going to have the ability to use that stuff for the foreseeable future, because it's all going to be more expensive. So, like, it's just asshole. It's just like a new Driving Miss Daisy kind of thing of like, here's this fucking rich, like, 20-year-old who's got to get to a party. I guess I'm going to cybercar over to them and have them berate the cybercar that I almost guarantee you're still going to be responsible for cleaning when it comes back to wherever they keep them. Also, like, where do you keep them? That's a fun question for all of these non-manned cars. Like, people are going to throw up in those cars. If they're designed to have, like, the ability to AR screen in the car. So, like, how many people are going to get into those cars and just get car sick as shit?
Yeah, I can imagine. Especially because, I mean, if you're getting a self-driving car, I imagine you're going to have drunk people in those cars.
Yeah.
And I don't think that would pair very well with AR business inside of a moving car.
No. And then one thing, I mean, this is purely me being like conspiracy theorist, but the feeling is, for me at least, usually technology follows technology, and a lot of things that we create get interpreted through art. I feel like video games are going to use a lot of the same models of like how we're using cyber cars, if that's what we're doing. I don't think it's improbable that if we start using these things with the terrible state that like cybersecurity is able to be in already, like, what, are they going to put these cars on the blockchain? Like, you can't do that. So it's just going to be the possibility that somebody could think it's really funny to make a button that makes cars turn left or something. Like, who the fuck knows? Like, it can be very simple for, like, fucking with people in a way that could be very deadly if it's extending out to, like, cars. So that's fun.
Yeah. I wonder what the statistics are right now on, like, self-driving cars and accidents. Although I guess technically this wouldn't really be self-driving, but
yeah, I don't know what the capabilities fully of the hologractor are. It could have more self-driving ability as well.
It sounds like a name of a stupid dinosaur or something.
Yeah.
Like, what
we're still in argument over whether the hologractor had scales or feathers or some combination of both.
Also, I liked the screenshot of the showing like the air knife TM
Yes.
airflow control, which is like, okay, cool that in a post-COVID world you can be like, hey, rich people, don't worry about it because we can do this now.
Yeah, you could be in a car with two other strangers and you're not going to get COVID from each other because of air knife.
Air knife.
Which feels very similar to me to that, like, fucking, no, we made UV cleaners. This area is safe. Which I don't, that's not how, like, human disease spread works. You don't put a UV fan at the top of your building and go like, it's fixed. But whatever.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I have a booster appointment for a Saturday, so.
Oh, nice.
That'll be nice. We'll see how that works when the old Omicron comes by.
Oh God. Yep.
Yep.
I think this is just yeah, I think I'm ready to get annual booster shots for the next however long.
I mean, I'll fucking do it. I'll eat the whole bowl of shit. I need to see people get a better system for everybody to get these boosters if we're gonna have to get them, you know?
That would be nice.
And that better system includes people who are not getting vaccinated fucking getting vaccinated and not being assholes.
Right, yeah. I mean, those are obviously the people that I'm the most annoyed with or frustrated with. Because as long as you won't do it, we're just going to have to keep getting fucking boosters forever and ever, but
like
cool.
Unvaccinated people are the reason why we are wearing masks. And I feel like that should be maybe a little more of an issue for people. But whatever. It's cool.
Don't want to infringe on your personal liberties. It's in the Constitution that I don't have to wear it.
I love soaking everything with alcohol, and if I were to ever have grandkids, I'm sure they would fucking love to see all the stupid shit I do every day because of this whole thing. It's like Grandpa keeps fucking cleaning the table whenever we get up from it with alcohol. I don't get what his problem is. Yeah, nobody does.
Nobody gets it.
Damaged from the fucking 2020s.
You're still going to be like PTSD worried about COVID-19 and they're going to be on like COVID 34.
We got COVID 40 right now. You can't get rid of it with alcohol. You have to burn the dead and inhale the ashes. Everybody knows.
We just have to burn the house down, Grandpa.
President QAnon 69 said we have to stay out of doors at all times, and you keep trying to get inside, and we're really sick of it, Grandpa.
God. President QAnon.
Hey. Did you know that there's an offshoot of QAnon that has the leader calls themselves, or the QAnon group, I think, is called Negative. What number president was Trump? Do you remember?
45.
Excuse me? Okay, 45. I got it. I don't remember. The group, I think, is called Negative 45, and it has something to do with, like, it is just a full-on, like, normally structured God's complex cult now. And it's not the whole QAnon, which is already sort of death culty, but there is at least a sizable chunk of people who are now following a decided person who is a real person and not just JFK Jr., not any of the 3 JFK Juniors they think exist. It is a dude who is like calling himself essentially like a savior, and they're following him, and Trump was like a big like sign from God kind of thing. It's all fucking garbage, but it's nice to see it continuing to progress and worsen in the ways that it's just becoming like a cult instead of like internet weirdness.
Where did you first learn about them?
I think QAnon Anon talked about them, and more people have like they've been written up in papers and stuff now, but it's still like a very like new thing, like people looking into it and being like, this seems to actually exist. Like there is a weird group of people. I do have the name, as long as I didn't get rid of the tab, of the guy who has been calling himself that, in case anybody wants to look into it more. No, not Chris Pratt as Mario. That's not what I want. No, it's not Ted Cruz.
If it were Chris Pratt, I think I'd be okay with it.
I mean, it would be more interesting.
I would be like, oh, don't worry about it, guys. He's just doing some like he's just doing some like method research for a role, probably.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm going past my tabs, and it's I don't see it in here. I could find it, but before I do that, I just want to. This is a new segment I'm calling Tab Shame. Let's see, we got, and these are all dark. It's just the tab titles.
Oh, good.
We've got Best Celebrity Halloween Costumes of 2021. We've got Radioactive Contamination of Groundwater in Washington. We've got Stephen Donziger was imprisoned by the 1%. We've got Spokane Murders. We've got everything that was cut from Avatar, sex. We've got The Goop Lab on Netflix. Episode 1562, Scott Adams, Let's Talk About All the Fake News. We've got a search on fanfiction.net. We've got the hypnosis archives on scottadamsays.com.
Hell yeah.
We've got Mathematically Absurd Chapter 1, Harry Potter fanfic. We've got a tab called Have Millennials Killed Serendipity? We've got Crypto Bros Taking L's on Twitter. Data moshing. Solid Perfume. Virtual Villagers. The Kashama No on Recall. Star Wars Jizz. Kingdom Hearts 3. And I found the guy's name on the next tab after that. It is Michael Protzman. So
okay.
Yeah, it's also the QAnon JFK cult in Dallas is where this is happening.
Oh, yay. Cool.
Michael Brian Protzman, leader conspiracy theorist in Dallas, says there's no coincidences. And he is, it's the negative 48 cult, I guess. Which I think has to do with a future president that is as yet to be named. Anyway, go figure on that shit.
I like that as a segment.
I
like the tabs as a segment.
It's going to be a nightmare every time if I keep doing that. So, I mean, that's
good.
In
the interest of keeping things fair, I think I should read mine.
I think the second half of Tab Shame should all absolutely start up.
Mine are. I don't have as many going as you do, but
Well, I have 400. So
yes, I definitely don't have 400, but I here is where they start. Dog Zodiac signs.
fuck. Okay.
Why are flags half-staffed today? Just a Google search of chinchilla, and it's just a picture of a chinchilla.
Fantastic.
Some clothing store. Myers-Briggs types. Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. I don't know
Okay.
what. Ordering pizza from somewhere that I didn't finish, I guess.
Definitely not drunk. Don't worry.
No, not at all. Very sober. TFT team comps
Okay.
to win.
Yeah.
A menu for a bar. A menu for a bar. More TFT. Jackbox bans the word come.
I mean, it is for as few tabs as it is, it's diverse. It's got a lot of like you're clearly thinking about a lot in your day-to-day life.
There's a lot going
Yeah.
on.
And it's important. Like sometimes you got to know about the dog zodiac. that's fine.
I don't even remember whose dog I was looking up zodiac signs for. Clearly there was a dog. I wanted to know their zodiac sign
Great.
or what it meant. And I think the Sandy Hook thing, I think I was looking up when that happened.
Okay.
Because why did what was it? I saw something. I saw like a never mind, it'll come to me. It was I saw like something about a kid from Sandy Hook being old enough to like fuck, what were they doing? Not go to a bar, like doing something in college, like at a college party or something. And I was like, there's no way it's been that long. Yeah, fuck, I don't remember what it was. But someone was saying that it was 10 years ago, and it wasn't, but
When was it?
it was.
I thought it was like 9 years ago.
It's close, I think. Fuck. 2012, so yeah, 9 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they could be in college, technically. I think
what I figured out is the person that they were talking about was not obviously like in the class in the like third grade classrooms. It was like an older kid. But yeah, I don't know. That was jarring that it's been that long.
Though I think technically I would have, if I was in third grade, 9 years later, I would be in college. So like that is.
Yeah.
That is technically.
That's possible.
Weird. Shocking.
Shocking.
Yeah.
And then I guess I needed to know what chinchillas looked like again.
Yeah, I mean, it is important. As sometimes when you're having a rough day, you just need to know what a chinchilla looks like.
I strongly recommend it. Just maybe like a daily check-in. Just like, what do chinchillas look like today?
Oh, yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, chinchillas look all right. That's actually a pretty good place to go with it.
I noticed you also sent me a CoStar screenshot.
Oh, yeah. I just kind of put that in the middle for a little extra flavor. I've been keeping up with CoStar, and it got real weird on me. It definitely did a lot of like, you're going to commit terrorism for a few days. But now it's in the spot where it's like, so when I first started using it, it was giving me a lot of like, hey, maybe you and Madison got to go camping. Maybe you and Nick need to go like you know, have a meal together. And it's gone back to that shit now. Like, it's giving me, it didn't give me skip stones, but it has been giving me, like, go on a hike and shit like that with you specifically. And then occasionally it's like, have a talk with Nick, which I just find really weird for an app. But the two that have been the worst lately are the conspiracy ones, where it. So here's a quick update past that. So after the conspiracy stuff, which all happened kind of close to Thanksgiving, I think, on Black Friday, I got that I should be doing belly laughs, dancing shoes, and appetizers, but I shouldn't be showing up unannounced, editorializing, or picking sides, which seems very, like, on brand in a weird way. But the, let's see, is this? No. Though it was telling me that I needed to have a lot of, I love this category of stuff. It wanted me to have seltzer, eat snack bowls, and read encyclopedias one day, which I'm all for. I'll do that whenever. I take, in case people haven't been able to pick it up, I have too much shit on my phone at all times. So I got, it said that this is November 23rd. It told me that I should be doing fine point pens, breathing exercises, and writing it out. And it told me I shouldn't be conspiracy, bad mouthing, and big discoveries.
Oh.
And that was after the 22nd, where it gave me don't, unmarked packages, talking strategy, or manifestos. Which is the most, like, you're gonna bomb a building, like, that I've ever heard.
I wonder if CoStar just occasionally sends those out to people that are like, you know, this, we're just getting some vibes from this guy, and just like on this particular day, we need to, you know, just nudge him in the direction of maybe not doing a terrorism.
We're not saying you're gonna do it. We're just saying don't.
We're just saying, astrologically, today you seem kind of inclined to maybe blow some shit up. So
we're saying we're getting some vibes from you that we don't.
The vibes are fucked.
And they're fucked.
Jail immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, if I just get do jail. That's then
your
I've
horoscope
got
is we actually already called the police, so
yeah. Speaking of calling the police, I've got another fun invention that I think I've mentioned a little bit. It's that third picture I sent you. Would you go back and take a look at that for a second?
The third picture. Oh, yes, this. Okay.
So what does that appear to be to you?
It looks like something out of the movie WALL-E.
Yep.
So, looks like a robot designed to be cute.
Yes. I'll hold this. Where is that image?
Looks like an iPad with eyes on top of a spherical Roomba.
Yeah. So here's that. You can take a look at your destroyer. Just got a bathroom text notification from Kurt. Yeah, you can pause it and read it if you want. I don't know what it said because I skipped it. So what that is a Roomba. You're correct. It is a Roomba that has a telescoping bar on top of it with a little screen. And what that screen does other than do simple tasks in which you can on the websites that explain it, including there's a write-up on Bloomberg if you want to look up information on it. Let's see, that article is Amazon's new robot Astro is a privacy minefield, and that's on Bloomberg. So
it's an Amazon product?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so what that
weird.
does is it could do some things like you can say, hey, take this soda. This is the example they give. You can set it on the robot. Take this to Jason. And it'll go to Jason and give him the soda. But how does it go to Jason, you might ask? It has advanced facial recognition technology in it. And a telescoping thing so it can come up to your face and be like, hey, how's it going? The other thing it can do is call the police if it doesn't recognize you. So that's cool. Hey, did you want a vacuum that might see somebody new in your house and call the police? Because now you can have one. Thanks, Amazon.
Just multiple times a day getting a police called on your dog or cat.
I mean, I've done the fucking face changer stuff on Snapchat to a cat. It is totally a thing you can do. The likelihood that it would see a very slow-moving dog and think it's a person is probably pretty likely, right?
Probably not impossible.
Yeah. So that's fun. So I guess buy one of those and make your life more interesting. Live a little, coward.
Yeah. Oh God. I just saw part of a trailer for a movie the other day that I don't know her actual name, but Jen from the IT Crowd is in.
Oh, okay. I like her. Is it a bad-looking movie?
Yeah. So no, I mean it looks kind of scary, but it's about like an AI that people buy, like a human-looking person that's an AI that is supposed to like be a butler essentially, and the family buys one, and it starts to like do creepy shit because it's like learning scary things.
All right.
But that kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah.
I mean, how would you? I can't imagine there's a world in which one of those robots at some point is not just like looking at you while you're sleeping.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then you wake up and it's just like got a knife in its cup holder.
The knife in the cup holder, that's maybe not. But the idea that robot is rolling around and looks at you while you're sleeping is like 100%. Like, it's a robot. It doesn't give a shit. Also, mango Pepsi and cheap whiskey is amazing together. This is very good. Also, that sake was really good. Just for reference.
It all sounds pretty good. Especially like you said mango?
Yeah.
Mm.
It's got that mango Pepsi.
I occasionally forget that Pepsi exists, and I don't have any strong feelings either way about Pepsi or Coke, really. But I just kind of never see it, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't drink a lot of soda. Like, I do drink on this especially, like energy drinks, which are just soda. But I'm not like a daily soda person. And I don't think about Pepsi and Coke, but I do, when I consider it, I do feel like Coke is big in like southern states and like sort of less populous areas. I don't know that Pepsi is big anywhere. It just kind of feels like a soda that exists, but
yeah.
But Coke is definitely a thing that a lot of people are way into.
I do like those machines that they put in like fancy McDonald's where you can like mix the flavors of shit. Those are
Yeah.
pretty all right.
I've had a few, what I think it was peach ginger ales at like theaters because they have those machines now. And I'll go in and have something like that. It's pretty good. I would suggest it. Gonna let this.
Are we back?
Yeah. It's laggy in both directions sometimes.
Yeah.
Did you catch what I said, or did it jump ahead?
It jumped ahead.
I was just saying, I get like a peach ginger ale at theaters because they have those machines now.
Yeah.
I prefer having that option, but I do kind of miss just mixing shit together randomly.
Mixing together like Mr. Pibb with fucking Mountain Dew Sweet Lightning.
Hell yeah.
Have you?
I have not mixed those two together, unfortunately, but that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I don't even think that Mr. Pibb would be on the same machine as that, because Mr. Pibb is usually the like off-brand ones, one of the off-brand ones.
Though I will say, a good mixture almost always has to include either Dr. Pepper or Mr. Pibb, because those are like the more flavorful dark soda that makes a good base.
Yeah. Good for mixing. I saw people on like TikTok and Twitter complaining about the fact that they learned that black licorice was one of the flavors in Dr. Pepper.
Oh yeah.
And everyone was incredibly shocked.
I mean, it's Dr. Pepper is good, so of course it is.
Yeah. And there's 23 of them, so of course one of them's got to probably be something like that.
You guys don't like anise? The fucks?
Anise.
Let me see. Did you have another topic?
Yes, I do. My other topic was too many eggs.
Right. Tell me about your eggs. I've seen some of your egg doings.
My egg work.
Yeah, I'm a big egg fan, but like, I think a couple of eggs in a day is plenty.
Yeah. So I a few weeks ago figured out, I don't know why I didn't, it wasn't that I figured this out. It was saw a new option on my DoorDash app to DoorDash groceries from like an actual DoorDash brand warehouse or something.
Okay.
And it's like cheaper, so obviously I tried it. And one of the things I got on accident was a carton of 18 eggs.
That's a good amount of
I
eggs.
I didn't mean to get that many. And we already had eggs. So we now have way more than 18 eggs. But I got them because I had been seeing a bunch of like cool egg recipes on TikTok for like tamagoyaki and onsen eggs, and I wanted to try. Yeah, so I
do love eggs. This sounds good so far.
Yeah, what I think, like, eggs always sound good and look good when I'm looking at recipes, especially like Japanese recipes.
Yeah, because they have good eggs there.
But like, every time I make eggs and I get done with it and I sit down to eat it, I will like have a bite and then I'm like, oh my god, this tastes like egg. I can't do it. Almost every time. I don't know why.
It sounds like you need somebody else to make the eggs, is the thing.
Maybe that could be it. Like, I enjoyed the eggs that I made. So I made a tamagoyaki roll,
Okay.
and I did it with all of the like flavorings and seasonings. I put like
Okay.
mirin in it, sugar, I think I put some MSG in it too.
Yeah.
And soy sauce. So I did like some of the normal egg seasonings for that you do for that, and it
Okay.
tasted good, but I will have like 2 bites of it, and I'm like, oh my god, egg. It's too
I
much.
I like egg, but I'm more of a. I like eggs and fish, so I will make like fried eggs, fried with fish, or I'll make dishes that use eggs. Uh,
hmm
but like I'm not as much of a like egg by itself person. So I get the idea of not necessarily wanting to just have something that tastes like eggs, but I think cooking it like a long form egg thing does kind of put you in the what is essentially the taste of eggs for long enough to where like it's not going to be as interesting once you get to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think also part of my problem was that I was making the tamagoyaki and the onsen egg at the same time.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that might not help.
I kind of like immediately egged myself out. But the onsen egg was really good too. And I like soft boiled or like runny yolk and things usually. So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
They're more time consuming to make, but not hard.
I I like a good runny egg as an addition to a lot of stuff.
hmm I think that's probably what I'll be using most of these for is like making the onsen eggs and then just storing them to put in like ramen and stuff like that.
I would like to try that if you have any extra. Or
Yeah,
just eventually.
yeah. They're super easy to make. You just have to like boil water and then you stick them in the water and just like leave it for 20 minutes.
Okay.
So it's not difficult. It's just something you have to think like 20 minutes ahead of time to do, which is not always what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, that can be hard when you're wanting food.
hmm
Your egg and rice dish is the thing I saw that was very appealing.
Yeah, that one I liked better than the tamagoyaki.
Yeah. Um, also, adding an egg to like just a full egg to like a hot broth is really good. Like if you're
Mm.
make a lot of like just essentially simmered vegetable soups that are may as well be pho, and just throwing an egg into that by itself can be really nice.
Yeah. hmm I, I I love that thing too. I'll probably end up making a lot of egg drop soup.
Nice.
That's always something that sounds good.
Also, egg is a good place to put a lot of pepper, and I think black pepper, good black pepper, is underrated in how good the flavor can be sometimes.
I agree. I pretty much like fried eggs with the like weird crispy edges
Mm-hmm.
of the white part that would get like overly salty and peppery
Yes.
is basically like the bacon part of the egg, but
I don't know if I've told you about this, but I made a fuck ton of eggs for a wedding, often like a park by the coast, that I was a failed photographer for. I got like drafted to make breakfast, and I just ended up frying eggs for a bunch of people. Fucking love it. Like, making fried eggs well is one of my favorite things, and it's a dumb thing to be like happy with and proud of, but like having some people say, "Oh wow, I really like these eggs," is surprisingly uplifting sometimes.
No, that's a good thing to just have, like, in your back pocket. Like, I can make a really good fried egg.
Yeah, it's not going to be rubbery, and you're going to be very pleased by the flavor.
Is there like a specific spice that you use other than black pepper?
The spice that I use is incredible amounts of poverty during parts of my life where buying eggs was like the thing I could afford. So I got really good at it. But mostly my favorite things to use with fried eggs, if it's available, is white pepper, like a little bit, black pepper, and then like a tiny bit of like dill and salt. And if you start the egg on like for most ovens or most stovetops, whether you're using a gas or electric, if you turn it up to like a 3, like a medium low heat, and let it fully acclimate to that temperature before you cook, you can put an egg, or usually you want to put like 2 eggs in the pan, cover it, and then turn it to low so that it has the heat in the bottom, but it's not adding a lot of like actual heat to the egg. And then you end up with like a well cooked, and like it usually takes a little longer. It takes like 3 minutes instead of 1. But like that's going to be a good experience over like having it on a high heat, and then it like rubberizes some of it, and like you still get the crispy bits. So that's not going anywhere. But,
yeah, the best part.
Yeah. And if you do add cheese, you need to add it afterwards, because it is really unsettling having a hot cooked egg with just slightly melted cheese on it. Like, I don't love that. It's not a good look.
No.
My usual thing is the lazy version, where I basically make an omelet to fold over for a sandwich, but it just has sardines and sardine oil instead of oil for the eggs. And it's good. Cooking sardines a little bit in a pan also is a good flavor, so it works out. But you don't
That sounds really good. Yeah.
You don't need any salt, because it is already pretty salty.
That'd be pretty good. I think sardines and Spam are both highly underrated breakfast meats.
It's a strong agree. They're powerful.
They are. I love a good salty meat.
Great. Speaking of salty meat, so I'm gonna push on a couple of the things I was going to talk about. I think we'll get a few mutuals in the Christmas stuff we watch for the next podcast or something.
Oh, good.
Because there's a lot of garbage out there, and we're both going to have to watch Princess Switch 3, so we can start there. Sorry. You and everybody. We're going to have to take a trip back to see what Cuzzy is up to.
Ew.
You remember? But what I do want to talk about is what do you know about alux.com?
Alux.com?
Yeah.
Is that ALUX?
It is.
I know nothing.
Excellent. So alux.com, I want you to actually go to alux.com on your phone and just look at their cover page. because I think that's a good introduction. They market themselves as the like essentially self-help for future billionaires.
Oh God.
Yeah. And what are you looking at?
I just hate how it looks.
Oh yeah. How's that front page treating you?
Fuck. So, you would think they're angling themselves to cater to future billionaires.
Uh-huh.
They would pick some sort of website design that didn't look like it was from 2014.
You'd think so.
You would think.
You know that tweet that I sent you before we started?
Yes.
Or rather, that
did you send me a
image of the
screen?
tweet? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the creator of alux.com. You'll notice that there's 0 likes,
God.
0 retweets on that from October, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't tell from looking at it. It almost looks like it's supposed to be a response to something, but it's not.
Nope.
It's really just his thoughts.
Yeah. So that's from Alux founder Emil Anton. Anton started Emil, I don't know, he started another website for a while. But he's been featured in such things as an interview on Male Extravaganza. That's male like the gender.
Oh. Is that a website? Male Extravaganza?
I don't. It just says an interview on, so I'm gonna guess yes.
That's a super missed opportunity for just a really great porn site.
Oh yeah. Welcome to Male Extravaganza XXX. We've got the wettest couch in town. But yeah, he has a Twitter, and it's just a lot of. I think scrolling through, most of his Twitter had between 0 and 2 likes, which like that's fine if you're my Twitter, but it shouldn't be. So yeah, good job.
I want to look up his present day tweets.
Yeah, it's not different. He's basically doing the travel blog influencer lifestyle, but all he does is run this weird website about self-help for rich folk. Well, no, that's the thing. It's not self-help for rich folk. It is a self-help for people who only want to be rich. It's definitely predatory, like poor folk stuff.
Yeah. His bio is, I made alux.com. Pretty cool, huh?
Wow. I think he's Romanian or something.
This is weird. His account isn't following anyone.
I don't know.
And he has almost 500 followers.
So, if you look through the website, there's a lot of articles, and like half of them are written by him. One I stopped reading my tabs because I got to the tabs that were from Alux. I've got like 20 tabs open. The first one of which is called 15 Ways Poor People Try to Look Rich. The subheader is, you're on your way to a new investment future today. It's no secret that poor people want to hide want to hide that they're poor, here are a few crazy things they do in order to look rich.
Cool.
Starts off with, hello, A-Luxers, and welcome back. This is going to be one of those articles about poor people, so buckle up. We want to preface this by saying that everyone is free to do as they want, but please know that short-term decisions have long-term effects. People go broke trying to look rich. In a society that revolves around social media, everyone is peacocking, trying to play status games. We believe that Randy Newman said it best, big hat, no cattle. Pay attention to this phenomenon. As always, here's the video version of this article. Skip past that. Let's cut the intro short. Here are 15 ways poor people try to look rich. Number 1, your car is more expensive than your house. What's up with that? That's its own paragraph. Have you noticed that actually rich people buy safer cars that go unnoticed while the pretenders do their best to stand out? Once again, peacocking, but this time with dire financial consequences. Cars, very much like large TVs, are not an investment. They're actually one of the worst experiences you can make from a financial perspective. Why do you buy an expensive car when you're paying rent? Question mark. Nobody who's actually rich buys that kind of stuff. Number 2, they brag about money. There's a whole website of this.
It's so stupid.
Here's the truth. Rich people don't like talking about money unless it's a business deal. Money is like the gas you put in the tank. You bring it up only if you're running low. And we said it once, we'll say it again. Poverty screams, wealth whispers. In wealthier circles, it's actually faux pas to bring up money in conversation. Because if you really have money, it's irrelevant how much you spent on anything. The fact that you're mentioning prices is showing that this was a really big purchase for you. The more you think about it, nobody mentions how much they paid for some chewing gum.
Is this really a problem?
Number 3, bedazzled anything and sequin dresses. Rhinestones, egg! That's the first paragraph. Everybody thinks they're trashy apart from poor people who love putting rhinestones on everything. And we mean everything. Poor people love showing off their bedazzled items like it's some sort of status symbol. Stay away from bedazzling your phone case, your jeans, and your Starbucks cup, and everything else. Sorry, girls, but nobody finds these attractive. Stop doing this to your nails. We think it's the appeal of being shiny, but not in a good way, in a cheap way that everybody knows is cheap. It's the same appeal of the sequin dresses. Speaking of shiny things that have little value, number 4, they buy zirconium and try to pass it off as diamonds.
Oh my god.
Man, called
Fuck.
out.
These poor people and their lack of support for the diamond industry.
Yeah, it's just the millennials are killing the diamond industry, but now from like a millennial take, which is just fantastic. You love to see
But
it.
it's just like the argument is just aesthetics, so it's fucking okay in his brain. Oh my god.
Well, you know what is okay is the way this starts off, which is, have you seen folks walking around with massive chains and bling, strutting around like they're the next game? Most of these are fake. You can cop a diamond and gold-plated bracelet for $14 on Amazon, or you can get not one, but 2 diamond dollar signs, all for $9.59. In the words of J. Cole, you probably sneezed too hard. This shit could break.
Great.
Stop spending real money on fake things. Anyway, so it continues with bad plastic surgery and fake tans as number 5.
Bad plastic surgery.
In which they apparently use this image at a certain point, which is a lot. Number 6, they rent or borrow cars to go on dates. I've never heard of any of that.
I've never heard of that happening.
Number 7, they overdress. Also, the first line in these is often bad because the first line in they overdress is, at most, rich people dress appropriately.
At most.
There's less money in the bag than you paid for the bag. Okay. Number 9, impressive fence, but not so much beyond it. You know those people who put lines on their fence and impressive gates, but they're unable to heat up the house during the winter? You probably do.
Yeah, you know those people.
They go on to talk about Versace gates, which, okay. Number 10, name dropping. Number 11, cash. You don't expect literal money to be a sign of poverty, but that's the world we're living in.
Oh my god.
Nobody rich flexes their $1 bill stack on social media. Number 12, they prioritize design over utility, which all of these seem like the opposite. Number 13, they pretend entry-level brands are luxury brands. What is an entry-level brand?
Okay. Yes. That's a good question, first of all.
Yeah.
But I forgot what I was even going to say. What? Yes. What the fuck is an entry-level brand? What are they even talking about?
Their first paragraph is Pandora, Michael Kors, Coach, Tommy Hilfiger, and Hugo Boss are just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh my god.
Get a real watch, you idiot.
Get that entry-level shit out of my face.
Also, didn't they just have a name-dropping section, and now they're like, Balenciaga, through their status-focused marketing, got poor people paying $1,000 for mass-produced sneakers, money they can barely afford. Okay, anyway. Number 14, you're a walking billboard for brands. And number 15, fancy place in a shitty area. So apparently if you have a nice place and you're in a bad area, you're poor. So that's fun. That's a cool one. This was written by the founder. So, like, he's living what he talks.
Sounds like a really cool dude.
But, so, that was an example of the most immediately ridiculous versions of their articles.
Mm-hmm.
But the other articles I have on this list of just the last, like, couple months of their stuff. There's 15 rules for kings. So that's about as interesting as you would think.
Oh yeah, did we mention that their logo is a crown?
Yeah, their logo is it's a crown done in continuous contour, so you know that.
So it's modern and fancy.
You know that they mean it.
Also, we love the implication that billionaires are kings.
Oh, I love it. If you look at his Twitter, actually, you will see some very pro Elon Musk stuff.
Oh, I am seeing it. I can't imagine that a guy named Emil Anton is not super into Elon Musk.
Yeah. It's kind of a necessity of being that person.
This guy sounds like a sim that was randomized to be Elon Musk.
Like, yeah,
or randomized
he's
from
Elon Musk that just didn't make it.
He just didn't have the fucking ruby mines or whatever the fuck it was.
Oh, sorry, emeralds?
Yeah. How very poor of me to not know my gemstones.
Yeah, come on. In rules for kings, it includes number 7, which is there are no kings without armies. For one to be a king, you need to be able to protect what you care about. So that has some interpretations that are a little bit.
This guy is giving me some
bad.
real big, like between this and the anti-rhinestone dress
Yeah.
screed. he's
Yeah, there's some
giving-
MRA in here for
Yeah.
sure. Number 9 is keep your friends within reach, but no closer. A shield only works if the enemy is on the other side.
What?
That's a very loaded title, my dude.
Are your friends your enemies also simultaneously?
Also, number 13 might be a self-report on being a weeb, because
Oh.
there are only two forces in the world, the sword and the spirit.
He's either a weeb, genuinely, or Jesus weeb, which is
Yeah.
worse.
He could be either.
Or both. Yeah, I guess he could be both.
So, just the titles of some more of these. So there's an article called 15 Limiting Beliefs and How to Succeed Beyond Them, which doesn't sound so bad until you read what is it? So there's one of the beliefs that is ruining people's ability to advance is I'm too old and / too young, or I am not ready, which is that's often a libertarian thing of like why we should have child labor, because people just want to succeed.
Right. Yeah, we're holding them back.
Yeah. One of the beliefs that holds people back is rich people are evil. And then where is that one? One of the beliefs is all men are pigs.
Oh, I gotta keep scrolling through this guy's Twitter. There's gotta be some good stuff in here.
Yeah.
Tweets and replies.
15 ways to give back to your community, which was a very deceptive title, because I was like, oh, is this going to be one of those like accidentally like kind of okay ones? And then the list is like, be independent, lead by example. My favorite is number 3, which is build a business, hire people, and take care of them. But the entire thing is one list. And it says a man has 3 families. 1, the one he is born with. 2, the one he makes for himself. And 3, the one he hunts or goes to war with. When you build a business, people rely on you. Their families rely on the business in order to prosper. And then number 4, that's the whole section, is build a business, hire people, and take care of them. That was the description of what that means, is hunt and kill with people, I guess.
Also, there seems to be an implication that there are no women future billionaires.
Oh, no, come on.
We're not
Don't be
concerned
stupid.
about that.
Number 6, raise a child. So maybe there are women billionaires.
I guess.
You know, raising a child is the way to give back to your community. So is number 7, give resources to those who know what to do with them.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right. I'm just scrolling through this guy's tweets now.
Oh, yeah. You should.
So many of these are just just like links to his Facebook posts.
So one thing I want to bring attention to before we run out of time here, they have a 10 books you wish you had when you were younger list. And they've got, they're all self-help books for the most part. It's like Don't Fucking Panic, the shit they don't tell you in therapy. They've got The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. These are like, I don't recommend any of these books in case anybody wants to know.
Triggered by Don Jr.
Well, let's see. The Strength in Our Scars, The Giver. All right.
Okay.
Maps of Meaning by Jordan Peterson is on here. The least surprising book to find.
Yeah.
The Mountain Is You, Transforming Self-Sabotage into Self-Mastery. The Social Animal by David Brooks, another bad sign. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, not looking great. You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness by Jen Sincero. But number 3 is the one that I really want to point to, because number 3 is How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big by Scott Adams. So that's one of the 10 books that is required reading if you want to, have a good life. Scott Adams is the creator of the comic strip Dilbert, and he has released many books in his lifetime. We featured him in a video not too long ago titled 15 Things You Didn't Know About Scott Adams, where we pointed that Scott Adams believes that goals are for losers, passion is bullshit, and mediocre skills can make you valuable. The book highlights the cons of certain expected ideas about work and self. For example, we're led to believe that being selfish is not a good thing, but he argues that being selfish is essential to being able to help yourself when you're in a better place. Something, something. This book will have you second guessing what you've been taught is normal and have you thinking a whole lot more critically about several pertinent subjects. And then we got this Scott Adams video that I can link to you if you would like it.
Oh, dear God.
Because the other thing that I'm not mentioning so far about this website is that every one of these lists is a video, and you can watch all of them. So they're all narrated by the same soft-talking British woman, so it can really smooth over the stuff that you're hearing about.
I love following the PragerU model of videoing everything. That's cool. That's
Is
nice.
You're right.
Yeah.
Actually, it is cool.
I mean, anything that Scott Adams is involved in, I'm sure is very cool.
I feel like Scott Adams is going to end up the president, and I'm going to be the saddest person in America.
Fuck.
He needs to do a Jordan Peterson, get really into a diet thing that his daughter makes, and like almost kill himself. Because that's the only way we're going to push him further away from the mainstream.
Yeah, he needs to put himself on the map with something like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like he needs to do some shit like that.
And it's appropriate having Jordan Peterson on that list because essentially that entire website is Jordan Peterson, but focused only on billionaires as opposed to everybody.
Yeah. Well, dude, billionaires.
Yes.
Which is redundant, as we know. But
one of the things in the rules for kings was a warning that if you let anybody else tell you what to do, i.e., a queen, you might lose your position. You can't let that happen. So
can't let them take your power.
You can't. They'll steal your juice. You can't let them steal your juice.
Fuck yeah, the MRA stuff is super not surprising.
I spent literally an entire night until like 8 a.m. looking and listening to MRA shit the other night because I'm in a weird place lately. So don't do that.
That does sound like a specific kind of brain poison.
Well, it's kind of like, getting in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing really gets me like in the Christmas mood more than arguing men's plight in society.
I just think it's really rude how the world Once you get a bitch pregnant, they have all the rights towards the baby, and you can't abort it or anything.
It's fucked up.
I'm just saying, I'm just asking questions.
I'm just starting the conversation.
I'm just asking questions. I don't know.
Hey, you want to do some DMT?
Also, let's do a bunch of DMT and de-evolve into monkeys. It'll be fun.
That actually might be the single action that I can blame Joe Rogan with some like bad intentions with the most is trying to get Alex Jones to do DMT.
Yeah.
No.
Don't do it. He's far enough. We don't need a stronger Alex Jones.
He's seen the light. We don't need him to become any more enlightened than he already is.
And we're like, we've got they shortened our Skype window on our recordings, but I do want to say one of the things that we are absolutely going to be talking about next week is Alex Jones's new crazy bullshit thing, because he lost all those defamation cases, all of them. Yeah. He's on the hook for a bunch of money that hopefully he'll have to pay. Who the fuck knows? But what he's doing in response to it is going full fucking like terrorism. And he's leading into it. I looked up a bunch of info on this. I don't have time to get into it yet. But there is a big thing with like the Great Reset and stuff like that. That is it's like a Klaus Schwab led thing. Oh, tons of problems on that side too. None of it is like good. This is two big shitbags kind of. But the focus we have is on Alex Jones because, he's, I guess, the part that America's more concerned with, unfortunately. And the general argument he's pushing for to get people excited and give him a bunch of their money so he can probably pay his court shit is trying to convince everybody that there is a reason why death isn't the end, is where he's been headed with his most recent stuff. He's bringing in more people who also believe that shit to his channel. And he's talking about how death isn't the end. And to die is the true adventure is a joke I love. That is where he's going with it now. And he already has a big audience of people. The likelihood that he can get a couple of them in and believe that shit is very probable. So people should be a little wary of that stuff right now, because he is trying to push for like real ass white terrorism beyond what we already have, and he kind of has the ability to do it if he gets people excited enough. So
yeah, I mean, that's super terrifying to have people like him saying to die is the true adventure type shit.
Yeah.
When you have people up here at Charlie Kirk rallies being like, when can I start using my guns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not great.
Seems like not a great combo.
But we will absolutely be talking about that probably next week, because I got a lot of garbage info on that. I got a lot of tabs open. And you're going to hear about a lot of them.
That's fine. I'll probably have like a chinchilla or two to share.
Really? That's important. Honestly, you got to have a chinchilla or two.
Yeah.
All right.
They're
well,
a palate cleanser.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Start
Yay. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, the jabbers and McClunky, I guess.
And be gone thoughts. Yee.